Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Match Betting Chronicles. So again, you can see I'm correct score Dutching on this game, Roma versus Verona. And I found this one quite easy to profile, and I'm hoping that it sticks to the profile and doesn't get out of hand. I'll just show you briefly what I've done. I was looking at it to finish 2-0 is my real target scoreline, or 1-0. So you can see I put £1 or £2 more on the 1 and the 2-0 to Roma. So I win £50 instead of £41.55 on some of the other scorelines. So what I did is, obviously Roma are quite defensive. So even though I was expecting a goal, I just thought I'd put a half stake on 0-0 just in case, it was ultra defensive. So I didn't lose a full stake. But luckily, this is quite nice. Roma goal just on the stroke of half time. So hopefully that sets me up nicely for a comfortable second half. But I'd quite like it just to stay quiet, really. If Roma score another one too early, I haven't really got anything covered past 2-0 or 2-1. Okay, so I did cover 1-0 to Verona. Didn't expect that, but just in case. And obviously at 1-0, I didn't want to be dead on any other Verona score lines, so I've covered 2-1 to Verona as well. The odds were so high on 2-0, so I think I just put a £1 or something. So I take less of a loss on that, just in case there was a shock. 1 and 2-0 covered on Roma, as well as the 2-1. But beyond that, I've got absolutely nothing else covered. And I'll show you why. It just boils down to how I've profiled this game. So let's look at the home and away form. So Roma at home have got the best defence in the league. Mourinho is managing them, so not too surprising. Only 5 goals conceded at home, and they don't score many either, just 12. So yeah, this is why I don't expect them to score more than 2. And they're playing Verona away, who have the worst record in the division away from home. So they've only scored 6 away, and they're playing Roma, who've only conceded 5 at home. So yeah, that looks good. And they've conceded 15. So again, they don't actually, to be fair to them, concede too many. There's a lot of teams above them that concede more away from home. So yeah, just expecting a tight one there. And if I look at the Roma's recent games, it's all just one or 2 goals. So the last home game, 2-0. This one actually, that's the cup. So I did ignore this one because cup games are different to league games. This one, 2-0 against Fiorentina, 1-0 against Genoa, 1-0 against Bologna, and 1-1 against Torino. Now, I think you'll notice that I didn't cover 1-1. Go back to this. Now, obviously, this is quite a dangerous scoreline now because it's not covered. If the game goes on for a long time and then there's a late goal, 1-1, that is a big problem. Now, the only reason I didn't cover it is purely because it was quite low profit. I mean, I'd have had to stake a big stake on 1-1, and it would have just reduced my profit really. So that's the problem with doing correct score Dutching. Obviously, the more scores you take, the kind of safer it is, but you do reduce your profit margin. And at the end of the day in this, you are going to lose your full stake sometimes. So you need to be making enough, for the wins to outnumber the losses. So yeah, it's a fine line between risk and reward sometimes. Okay, and finally, obviously I can now do some things to reduce the risk. 2-2, it might be sensible to even put a pound on that, because the amount of times in Italian games I've seen games just explode from nothing, So yeah, I could put a pound on 2-2. I could maybe put a couple of quid on 3-1. 3-0 is still quite low odds, so I'd need to put a fiver on that, or £6, just to sort of ensure a scratch trade if that happened. So I'll wait a bit, and hopefully it's a quiet start to the first half. These odds can go up, and I can de-risk a bit. But as the profiling looks, there shouldn't be more than 2 Roma goals in this game. And looking at the attack momentum for the first half, it was relatively quiet, really. Doesn't look like either team really, pushed for a goal that hard. Roma, yeah, sort of towards the end of the half, you can see the momentum picking up a little bit. But yeah, a lot of teams, it's up here, much higher. If I was to look at the stats as well, Roma are actually doing better than their expected goals. It's very low for Verona, but 7 shots on off target, 4 on target, so that's more than I would expect for this kind of expected goals. But because we're not watching the game, maybe there were sort of soft shots, we don't know. And yeah, one big chance per team really. So it looks like Roma have taken their big chance and Verona have missed theirs. So hoping for just a quiet start to the second half, and hopefully midway through I can start to de-risk on some of these scores to hopefully get a big payout here. Hi everyone, back with this game, and at the moment I'm getting what I wanted. It was a nice quiet start to the second half. If we look at the attack momentum for the second half, there's not really, doesn't seem to be much going on. Let's just look at the second half stats for a minute. Here we are, second half. So yeah, these are very, very minimal expected goal values. Neither side at the moment the market is expecting anything from. Both had 1 shot off target, and that's about it. So obviously I still should try and de-risk, but at the moment I'm just letting the game play out a bit longer to try and get some of these odds up. So I did back 2-2 earlier on, just with £1, and minimal risk on that now. Could put another £1 on, and 3-1 I can safely put £1 on and sort of pretty much ensure a scratch trade if it finished 3-1. And 3-0, it'll just take about £4 in order to reduce the risk on that. So perhaps that's something I should do now while I got the chance, because if another goal goes in, then it is kind of too late. I'm going to have to take a lot worse prices. But obviously, the longer the game goes on like this, the better odds I am going to get. So at the moment, just keeping an eye on the on the attack momentum, and then deciding when's the right time to do this. I mean, I could, if I know I do want better odds on the 3-0, but I could sort of drip the stakes, and maybe just put £1 in now. That reduces the risk. If there is another Roma goal, then at least I've got some money on the 3-0. You know, in 5-10 more minutes, I can put another £1 in, etc. So that's another way to do it. Okay, back with this match, and we're into the last 10 minutes now, and I'm being tempted by a cash out of £30. The reason why is I haven't got 1-1 covered, so if it finishes 1-0 or 2-0, then £46 profit. But the danger now is sort of a late goal from Verona, and I'm pretty sure I'd lose most of my stake there. So I want to try and cover 1-1. Now the problem is, let's say I was to put £10 on 1-1, then that gives me sort of £28 profit on 1-1, and if it finishes 1-0, then £36 profit. That's around the same sort of value I'm being offered now. So yeah, I think it will be 1-1, so I might as well do that. And if it finishes 1-0, I'm actually on £36 profit, so a little bit more. If not, then a little bit less than the cash out value. So that might be a sensible move. I keep looking at the attack momentum, and I'm thinking, just doesn't look like I need to cover the 1-1, but you just never know in football, do you? And Italian football, I keep saying, a goal can come out of nowhere. So looking at these stats, there hasn't even been a shot on target in the second half. So yeah, it could just be a waste of money, sort of back in 1-1. But at the same time, it will totally de-risk this trade. Might be the sensible thing to do. So going back into this, I have de-risked on some of the other score lines. So I did put £1 on sort of 3-1, and I drip fed just £2 onto the 3-0. So yeah, I kind of get just a £5 loss if it was to finish 3-0. So yeah, quite comfortable now. It's just the 1-1 that is bothering me, and yeah, let's get some money on that now. Odds of I'll try and get 12. Put £5 on for now, and then try and match some more at higher odds. So yeah, hopefully I can still get a decent profit out of this one. And yeah, just before I get matched, we just don't want a 1-1. Okay, so I've now secured this trade by drip feeding into the 1-1, and yeah, it's £20 profit if it's 1-1, and if it's 1-0, £39. There is one more thing you can do. If you're looking at the attack momentum and you think, that it's quite likely that there's going to be a late goal, then you can lay some of this off. So if I was to do £20 lay, that's only going to reduce my profit by a few quid. And now if it's 1-1, I get £40. If it's 2-0, it'll be near enough £60. So that's, if you look at the attack momentum, the in-play stats, you think another goal's coming. For me, looking at this, I don't think there is, but there's just been a big spike on Roma there. let me just have a look at the attacks. So yeah, still the expected goals are quite low, but Roma have finally had a shot on target. That's the only thing that's changed really. So it's been a quiet second half, and I just expect Roma to see it out 1-0 from here. But yeah, let's just go back to that for a minute. So it was, you know, when you look at this kind of possession, it probably was the smart move to, I did say earlier, wasting money back in the 1-1, but it does secure the trade. And even with very low attack momentum, not much going on, you know, you can see that Verona has much more possession, and yeah, goal could come out of nowhere. So sensible decision really. Anyway, so now, yep, lay odds are just 105. So for a £20 lay, I'm only risking £1. But still, this time I won't do it. If it was another team, I might go for that. But Roma, very, very defensive in this sort of situation. So anyway, I hope you found this video useful. I know I've waffled on a bit, and but thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.